It is the 30th of September. It is the last day of September. And I am hopping on so we can talk about what I want to read for October. Now, last month, I decided that I wasn't going to do TBRs anymore. And I'm not. I'm not going back to TBRs. What I'm going to do now is a thing called Hopefuls. And I'm going to take a bunch of books that I would like to get through during the month. And if we get to it, great. And if we don't, we don't. Hopefuls. So without further ado, here is October's hope for 2024. So I'm going to go over the physical books that I have first. And then we'll talk about the digital books that I have in mind. So, physical, we have a few. I want to do What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This is the first of a new series. Spooky, it's fungi horror, it's supposed to be a whole thing. It's supposed to be the perfect book to read for fall and Halloween. And this is a reimagining of Edgar Allan Poe's The Fall of the House of Usher. So I'm excited. The next book that I want to read is a book that I just got. Another reason why I want to start doing hopefuls is because I can get through more physical books if I don't have like a set plan, you know what I mean? And at this point, we're about to hit October. I've read 141 books for the year, but only 17 of the 141 are physical. So there's still a lot of books on my shelves that I have not completed yet, and I want to start cutting through those. So What Moves the Dead, that's a physical that I own. The next one is one that I've been looking forward to ever since I realized it was going to be released, and it's called Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. It's a novella, and if M.L. Rio sounds familiar, they made If We Were Villains, which I just bought a beautiful new cover edition of when I saw this on the shelf, and I knew I couldn't leave it. This sounds like so much fun. It's got dark academia vibes. It's a college, like, cemetery. A bunch of people walk by it every day, and nothing is, stands out about it. And then one day they walk by, and there's a new hole waiting for a body. I don't need anything else. I'm so excited for this. The next book that I want to read has been on my list for a little bit. I bought this last year, I think, or the year before last. It's called Schrader's Chord. It's thick. It is thick. But it's one of the few horror novels that I actually own. And it's supposed to be really good. It's essentially about this guy who, he inherits his dad's record shop, and inside the record shop is this case that has 4 records that's supposed to open a gate to the land of the dead or something. That's all I really want to know. It sounds like a blast. The next book has literally been on Halloween and spooky TBRs since I purchased it, and I have not read it yet. So I am determined to read it this month. I know I said it's a hopeful, but if I get anything done, I want it to be this. This is The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. So this is about a black kid who can see and or talk to ghosts, and he winds up being haunted by a school shooter or something to that effect. It's been on my list for a while. I've wanted to complete it for a while, so I added it hoping that I will actually get to it this time. The last physical book on our list is called Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesar. It is a book that I own. It's a book that I've owned for a while and have not finished yet. It is also super spooky. It's supposed to be a thrilling old school horror for a new generation. And it starts as a fun and scary retro slasher, but then cleverly twists and bloodies its way into being a very now kind of beast. So that sounds like fun. It sounds like, you know, spooky time is right up my alley. So now for our digital books, they're a little bit all over the place. The first one that I want to talk about is the third in the Evander Mills series. It's an arc that I received. It is published on the 1st of October. I've already started it on 4% in, and it is called Rough Pages. I don't know what's happening in this one, but essentially Evander comes back to Lavender House, and a employee is worried about a certain list. And that's really all I know. I'm literally a chapter into the novel. The next book on our list that I want to talk about is another arc. It's called She's a Killer. And it's supposed to be about a teenage serial killer. So that sounds like fun. The next book that I want to talk about, I actually already started. I have it on audio. I am 15% in, and it is called Here Lies a Vengeful Bitch. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be about. At 50% in, you have this girl. She wakes up crawling out of the river, and I personally think that she's dead, but she hasn't realized that she's dead yet. And she comes across this, like, town full of, like, these teen ghosts, I think, but they haven't like come out and said that they're ghosts, and they're like stuck because they all have to do something, and I guess hers is like revenge, so sounds like a good time to me. The next hopeful is Class Trip by Bebe Faz Rice. It is on my 24 for 24, so if I'm able to knock that out, that's another book off the list, because I have only read 3 out of 24 of those novels, so I need to, you know, get to stepping. The next choice is Body Parts by Eliza Clark. I don't know what it's supposed to be about, but when people recommend it, they just say that she's incredibly unhinged, and that sounds like a wonderful time for, you know, Halloween. So the next book that I want to do is called Kiss of Death. I don't know if it's spooky. I don't know if it's haunted. I don't know. But it's a enemies to lovers, which I love. That's like my favorite romance trope. And it's like a chess champion versus a fencing champion. And it's kind of got like dark academia vibes. And they're in college. And I'm thinking it's just going to be a good time, you know? The last book that I want to read is called Virgin Night. It is by Christopher Robertson. And essentially, it's just a cheesy slasher fiction story about a bunch of kids who have sex and die. Like it's a slasher horror film in book form, and I'm very excited to read that. So those are the books that I have chosen for the October Hopeful, and with it being a hopeful list, I'm hoping that I can get through the books, I can add books, I can take books away, because it's not really set in stone. October is usually the month where I have a lot of activities, a lot of things to do, a lot of costumes to make, things of that nature. I don't really have too much planned this October, but the month hasn't started yet, so there's always the opportunity to find something to get into. So yeah, I think that's everything that I want to tell you about. I'm Gabs, this is the Inkbunnie, and this is our October hopefuls. And hopefully, I will get to them. Sleuth out. Bye now.